One of the big things I wanted to fix beyond just getting the speaker button to work is I really wanted the touchpad to work more like a mobile phone as opposed to your finger just acting like a mouse cursor. So just like you would on a phone, touch the screen and drag to scroll up or down. Instead, what the kiosk was doing is just your finger was the mouse. So you had to go click a scroll bar with your finger and move the scroll bar up and down if you wanted to move the screen, if you wanted to move this screen up or down. Now it works just like a cell phone screen would on the 10-inch touchpad. But to do that, I had to change this kiosk refresh script, which if you go to our video series on the Christmas Kiosk, we kind of show you how to use this, how to set a cron job up that will run this, and we go over this file a little bit. So I'm just going to go over the changes. We've implemented a lot more of these options for the kiosk mode to make it act more like a mobile phone. The big one is this enable touch drag drop and touch events enabled. These two things were not in my prior build, and they were not, because they weren't there, it wasn't acting like a true mobile phone. It was acting just like a computer where your finger was a mouse pointer. A problem I had, though, is that these do not work with a Wayland backend. So in my prior videos, I had the setup through Raspberry config turn this into a Wayland backend as opposed to an X11 backend. I'll show you what that means in just a second. Wayland is not fully compatible with Chromium and these touchpad options. So I'll show you that change. But first I want to go over this script a little bit more. I've kind of reworked this to add some more features to it, and I want to go over what's new. All of these features about the settings are new. These basically are to help keep your touchpad from going to sleep. These are disabling your energy saver features so that you don't go into screensaver mode or something like that during your show. This just loads some fonts that were not being loaded by default on mine and throwing warnings. Really, it's just a cleanup thing. It doesn't affect functionality. A lot of these new switches that I've added all revolve around making it act more like a touchscreen, like a mobile phone or an iPad would, as opposed to just a computer where your finger is a mouse pointer. And then I just added some clarity here so that you know which of these two app lines to use. This is defining which page gets loaded by your cron job that calls this. If you're just using this as song selection, you don't really care about having buttons down here for GPIO utilization, but you just want to see your song list and allow voting or jukebox mode or whatever other mode you have selected, then what you would actually use is this bottom line and link that directly to your Remote Falcon page. However, if you want to use these GPIO buttons, you need to have it call your local host, your Apache web host that's on the Raspberry Pi if you followed the other pieces of this tutorial. And then this allows you to do some iframes in here where you can call Remote Falcon in this top part, and then whatever code you want down here to turn on speakers, kick off a snowblower, whatever it is you want to do for your show. So this is a much cleaner version of this kiosk refresh script than I previously had. Hopefully is a little clearer about how to modify it for your use than the other one. So that's one big change. Another change is to your boot/firmware/config.txt file. Again, where to put this file, how to set it up. These are all covered in other parts of the tutorial. There's actually only one small change here, but it's very important. And down at the bottom here, I've added this all DT overlay VC4 KMS v3D. This again ties to X11 versus Wayland backend. We're getting to how to make that change, but these are all the other configuration changes you need to make make the change we make in Raspberry config worth anything. So it adds this here. So this file, regardless of what your website is or anything, you just load this file to your Pi as is. There's no customization you have to do to this file. I've also added this config.txt and this kiosk refresh to the project repository, so you can just download these and load them just like discussed in the other parts of the tutorial. And then I want to go over the web page. If you're running the local Apache server, this is the file that I provide for it to load. Now you can update this however you want, obviously, but I tried to make it easy so that if you want it to look just like mine, where you're calling Remote Falcon up here and then turning on the speaker down here, this this bottom part here, along with all of the images and stuff required for it, are all included as part of the Git repo. But if you load this index file here, what it's doing, you can kind of see it here, is it's loading in this iframe up top. It's loading my Remote Falcon page. And then at bottom, it's loading this local file called localactions.php. Localactions.php, it's just another web file, but it's a web file with a PHP that will activate GPIO pins on button press. So it'll detect what button was pressed, and then it'll do whatever actions are in this PHP file. I won't go in detail in there, but for now, if you load that, you get this. Turn on the speakers, and that turns on GPIO pins that you can tie to the speaker relay. So those are some of the changes and just a quick overview of those three files. So let's go over how to convert yourself from Wayland back to X11 backend. So once you're logged in to a secure session, or if you're going through the GUI of your Raspberry Pi, you're going to come in here through a terminal session if you're using the GUI, or through a PuTTY session if you just want to do direct SSH. And you're going to do sudo raspi config, and then we're going to go down to advanced options, so 6. And then we're going to go down here to A7, where it says Wayland, switch between X and Wayland backends. Originally in the tutorial, I had you do a Wayland backend via LabWC. That's not what we want anymore, so that we can have full touchscreen compatibility with Chromium. To have full touchscreen compatibility with Chromium, we have to select this X11 option. I've already done that on this, but you would hit OK here. You would select this, hit OK. It'll say open box on X11 is active, and then you're going to go down here to finish, and it's going to have you reboot your Raspberry Pi. Just say yes. You'll lose your connection, it'll go down, that's okay, it'll come back up, and now you'll be running an X11 backend. After that Pi reboots, your display orientation and features will have been reset by going from the Wayland backend to X11. So we need to come into our Raspberry Pi menu, Preferences, Screen Configuration, come down here to Screens. HDMI 1 should be the default, and we need to do two things. Touchscreen, we need to select this and make sure HQ Embed Multi-Touch is checked. If it's not, click that to check it. I'm going to come to Orientation and select Right. That will orient your screen in the way mine is shown here, and it will also give you all of the touch features for Chrome by enabling this. And then you'll just hit apply. It'll come up with a confirmation screen that you'll hit apply for again. In addition to the screen orientation, we want to go ahead and turn off the energy management or the screen blanking features. We did it in the Kiosk script, but I found that I had to do it through here as well. So you're going to come into your Raspberry Pi menu, Preferences, and Raspberry Pi Configuration. It'll load this window, and what we care about is here on Display, and then Screen Blanking. We want to make sure and turn this off. So this is off, that's on, this is off. So we want to make sure that is off, and then we'll hit OK. That will keep it from blanking out the screen. Yes, we put it in the script, but I found I had to do it in both places for it to really stick. With the updates I provided to the repository, the files in the repository, as well as the configuration changes I just showed you through these menus, you now have a much more robust and user-friendly holiday kiosk solution that's fully touch compatible. You don't have to mess with scroll bars and things like that. That'll give you a lot better user experience for your Christmas kiosk. Hope this was helpful. Thanks again.